Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to plunge into that vast ocean of human knowledge and, well, surface the most compelling insights just for you.
Exactly.
Today, we're embarking on a truly epic journey, I think. It reflects humanity's age-old quest for understanding, from the cosmos right down to the intricate workings of the self.
Mm-hmm.
And while our title, Spiritual Paths and Humanity's Quest for Meaning, might sound like we're focusing on just one text, this deep dive is actually more like a vibrant mosaic.
That's a great way to put it. A mosaic of profound insights.
Drawn from a really rich collection of sources, all touching on our spiritual and existential journey.
Right.
We're definitely not just scanning the surface here.
No, we're going deep. Our mission today is to thoroughly explore these diverse spiritual paths, philosophical insights, societal reflections, really looking at human nature, consciousness, and our enduring search for meaning.
Right. And we want to uncover how vastly different traditions and thinkers have grappled with the really big questions.
From, say, individual enlightenment, that solitary path, all the way to the grand narratives of collective destiny. It's a fascinating exploration, I think, of the ongoing evolution of our spiritual understanding.
Hopefully giving you a richer, more nuanced perspective by the end.
That's the goal.
And what a collection of sources we've got lined up. I mean, from ancient scriptures, mystical treatises.
All the way to modern psychology and some pretty sharp social commentary. We're casting an incredibly wide net.
It's not about tracing one single linear history, is it?
Not at all. It's about exploring many interwoven spiritual narratives, giving you that panoramic, almost, you said, kaleidoscopic view.
Yeah, of human attempts to connect with the transcendent, to navigate existence. We'll be looking for those underlying threads, the ones that connect these seemingly disparate paths.
And this diverse range offers a unique, I think, invaluable opportunity. It can illuminate your own curiosity about life's meaning, maybe offer new pathways for personal growth.
And deepen your appreciation for the just sheer complexity of human belief.
Exactly. Ultimately, by exploring these varied viewpoints, you might just discover new insights that resonate powerfully with your own life, your own experiences, your evolving worldview, seeing your own journey with fresh eyes, perhaps.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Many of our sources, and this is striking, regardless of their origin or era, they consistently invite us on a profound inner journey, suggesting that the path to understanding often begins, well, not out there, but deep within ourselves. That call to introspection, to self-discovery, it seems like a powerful, almost universal starting point.
It really is fascinating how universal that call to inner exploration is. You see it across vastly different cultures, different time periods, often emphasizing self-mastery, profound self-awareness.
That's foundational, right?
Foundational to any deeper understanding. It's not just, navel-gazing introspection. It's about cultivating a different way of being, more conscious, often more disciplined.
And this is where we see that intense pursuit of spiritual realization come into play.
Absolutely.
When we dig into that pursuit, especially within Eastern mysticism, we find this intensely focused inner work. Work that promises, well, radical transformation. Take Yogananda's autobiography of a yogi.
A classic. Influenced so many people.
Right. And Kebalananda's testimony about Kriya Yoga in there. It's incredibly powerful. He talks about a truly profound manifestation. He says, and I'm quoting here, omnipotent God, hidden in all men, became visibly incarnated.
On the flesh of Lahiri Mahasaya and a number of his disciples. Wow.
Yeah. It's not just about intellectual understanding, is it? It's about an actual tangible realization of the divine within, kind of spiritual apotheosis.
And Yogananda himself, he talks about continuous divine communion as the ultimate goal of these rigorous practices, but he's also really honest about the challenges.
He is. He recounts his own unpredictable delusions as a devotee.
Which shows this isn't a path without its pitfalls, its potential dangers even. It underscores a crucial point, the importance of guidance.
Guru's wisdom.
Exactly. The teaching that wisdom is better sought from a man of unassailable protection. This isn't about blind faith, I don't think. It's about seeking a seasoned guide, someone who can navigate the complexities, the potential misdirections of such a profound journey.
Protecting the seeker from self-deception or spiritual confusion.
Which can definitely happen. That need for guidance, you see it echoed in so many traditions.
Then you have Ram Dass's Be Here Now, another cornerstone, right? Especially for Western spirituality's encounter with Eastern thought.
Hugely influential.
He puts it beautifully how your understanding of what the universe is all about changes as you proceed further along the path towards enlightenment.
It's not a minor tweak, is it? It's a fundamental reorientation of your whole being.
Totally. As your perception shifts, he says you gain greater compassion and an ability to see the divine plan in everything, even in things that might initially seem like failings or setbacks.
And that's the profound insight, isn't it? True enlightenment isn't just getting new information. It's a radical shift in perception.
Right. Allowing you to integrate those seemingly negative experiences into a larger, more compassionate understanding of existence itself. It transforms how you experience life's ups and downs.
And that's precisely where Ramakrishna's wisdom, which Ram Dass cites, becomes so crucial. He gives really practical advice for cultivating and maybe protecting that inner awareness.
What does he say?
He says, "Do not associate with those who never concern themselves with matters spiritual." Now, that's not a call for elitism, I don't think.
No, it sounds more like protecting your energy.
Exactly. It's a recognition that spiritual growth needs a certain environment. It's about protecting your focus from those who might, maybe inadvertently or maybe intentionally, undermine those kinds of pursuits. It highlights the delicate nature of cultivating inner awareness in a world often focused elsewhere.
Creating a space for that, as you said, delicate flower of understanding to blossom. Harmonizes Siddhartha, that explores this really intensely personal quest for self-knowledge, but in a narrative form, almost like a spiritual adventure story.
A beautiful book.
Siddhartha's resolve is so clear. I want to learn for myself, want to be my student, want to get to know myself, the secret of Siddhartha. It's such a powerful declaration of self-authorship on the spiritual journey.
He rejects external doctrines, doesn't he? Favors direct experience.
He does, and we see him experiencing this joy rolling like waves in his chest after escaping a worldly life he found empty. And he develops this deep disdain for the world of the rich, finding it superficial, spiritually stifling.
His journey really is a testament to that idea that true wealth lies within.
And the narrative brings up a really crucial question posed by Govinda to Siddhartha. Does one actually need a teaching or faith to live right, to do right?
Siddhartha's path suggests this deeply personal experiential route to truth, prioritizing direct self-knowledge, intuitive wisdom, over prescribed doctrines or external teachers.
It's a compelling counterpoint to the more structured spiritual paths, isn't it? Highlighting the possibility of an individualized spiritual evolution.
It really opens up that question. Is there one single map, or do we each kind of draw our own?
Then, moving to Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, we find a much more systematic, ancient approach to this inner work, rooted in classical Indian philosophy.
The foundational text of yoga, really.
And here, Kriya Yoga is defined very precisely. Austerity, study of the psyche, profound religious meditation on the Supreme Lord.
Its explicit purpose isn't just relaxation, like we might think of yoga today. It's deep spiritual transformation.
Right. Producing continuous, effortless linkage of the attention to a higher concentration force.
And for causing the reduction of the mental and emotional afflictions. It's a method for inner purification, heightening awareness, and ultimately transcending suffering.
And within the sutras, we learn about these 7 stages of discriminative insight. They progressively lead to samadhi.
Which isn't just a mental state, is it? It's described as continuous, effortless linkage of the attention to higher reality.
Signifying a profound state of being, where your attention is spontaneously, continuously linked to a higher consciousness.
A state of deep absorption, unity, transcending that ordinary dualistic perception. It's the cessation of the churning mind, the vrittis, allowing you to perceive reality directly without those distorting filters of thought and emotion.
The Buddhist tradition, represented so powerfully in the Dhammapada, offers its own profound definition of the enlightened individual, someone who's mastered this inner journey.
Like the Brahmana.
Exactly. Described not by birthright, but as one who comes to understand the destruction of sorrow, who has put aside the burden, who is free of the bonds. Or someone with profound insight, wise, proficient as to path and non-path.
It's about complete liberation, isn't it? From suffering, from ignorance, achieved through wisdom and detachment.
And Nibbana, or nirvana, is explicitly the final goal of the Buddhist religious quest. Psychologically, it's understood as the extinction of greed, hate, and delusion.
Which really highlights the transformative nature of this inner path. It's not about achieving some heavenly realm, but about getting to the root causes of suffering, greed, hate, delusion, and extinguishing them.
Leading to a state of ultimate peace and freedom. It's like a re-engineering of the mind itself.
Profound.
In a different but equally profound vein, the Tibetan Book of the Dead takes us into those realms beyond life, offering guidance for consciousness during the intermediate state, the bardo.
A fascinating text.
It describes the primordial Lord, the unchanging Buddha body of light, Samantabhadra, and Samantabhadra, the expansive reality, white in color, who are indivisibly united in the posture of meditative equipoise.
Incredible imagery, symbolizing that profound union of radiance and emptiness.
It's a spiritual vision of non-duality, isn't it? Right at the very fabric of existence. A unity of appearance and the fundamental ground.
That union symbolizes the non-dual nature of reality, that the vibrant, manifest world, the radiance, is intrinsically one with its unmanifest, boundless potential, the emptiness.
Not two separate things.
No, interwoven, inseparable aspects of the same ultimate truth. It's a core tenet in many Eastern traditions. And the text also offers practical tools, like the 100-syllable mantra of Vajrasattva.
For confession of negativity.
Right, which shows a consistent thread here. The importance of acknowledging and purifying your inner landscape, whether through meditation, self-reflection, specific rituals, even in that ultimate transition of death.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Turning to Western mystical traditions, contemplative practices, we find strikingly similar themes of intense inner transformation, though maybe expressed through different theological or philosophical frameworks.
Definitely. St. John of the Cross, for instance, in his incredibly influential Dark Night of the Soul.
He introduces this concept of spiritual luxury, which sounds counterintuitive.
It really is. The idea that the very comfort we might seek in spiritual practice can actually become a hindrance, a block to true spiritual growth.
He talks about being freed from those impurities through aridity and lack of sensible sweetness, implying that a period of dryness, difficulty, even desolation, it isn't just accidental. It might be essential for deeper purification.
It's a fascinating paradox. St. John argues that God purposely withdraws these spiritual consolations, creating this dryness. Why? To force the soul to seek him for himself alone, stripping away superficial attachments, self-serving motives.
So this divine intervention, which often feels like a painful stripping away, is actually a means to liberate the soul.
Paradoxically, yes. To cultivate a purer, more absolute love. And the ultimate reward is seen in that 9th step of love, where the perfect burns sweetly in God. It suggests a profound, joyous union that transcends those fleeting emotional states.
Like a spiritual detox, maybe, making space for a deeper, unshakable connection.
That's a good analogy, a connection that transcends mere feelings.
Then there's the cloud of unknowing, another foundational text of Christian mysticism. It similarly emphasizes a deeply interior practice.
Teaching that core idea of focusing on a blind and devout and this misty stirring of love.
It's an active engagement with the divine, but non-conceptual. It bypasses the intellect. And crucially, the text distinguishes true spiritual illumination from what it calls psychosensual automatism.
Or false feelings, like quaint sounds in their ears, quaint lights and shining in their eyes.
It's a warning, isn't it? Against mistaking external phenomena or emotional highs for genuine spiritual insight.
That distinction is vital. For discerning genuine spiritual experience from mere psychological stuff or self-deception, the anonymous author emphasizes that real spiritual illumination springs up within the soul in abundance of ghostly gladness.
Ghostly gladness, what a phrase.
Isn't it? It carries its own inherent authority, brings this profound sense of wonder and love. It's a reminder that the path to God isn't about chasing external sensations, but discovering that inner wellspring of joy and certainty, arising from pure, unmediated love.
A love felt more deeply than thought.
Precisely.
Then there's The Way of a Pilgrim, that Russian spiritual classic. It introduces us to the Jesus prayer.
Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner.
Right, presented as this powerful means of guarding the mind and the purity of the heart. This simple, repetitive, heartfelt invocation. It's seen as capable of, quote, destroying passions.
And scattering the enemy and his imaginings like dust in the wind. It's presented as a potent spiritual tool, almost a weapon, for cultivating inner peace and purifying the heart from distractions.
And the text highlights a beautiful theological point, central to Orthodox spirituality.
Which is?
That God desires that we come to him as sons, that we be honest and delight in the redemptive union with him in our hearts and souls, be only out of love and devotion to him.
That elevates the motivation, doesn't it? Beyond fear or obligation or even reward, emphasizing a relationship of pure, unadulterated love and devotion, an invitation to a deeply personal, intimate connection.
Finally, staying in the West, We have the timeless Stoic wisdom of Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations, offering advice that just resonates across millennia.
Look inwards. Within is the fountain of good, which is ever springing up, if you be always digging in it.
Such a powerful call to consistent self-reflection, inner cultivation, recognizing that true virtue, true happiness, they're an internal resource, not something you acquire externally.
And he contrasts this vital inner work with the dissipating pursuits of external things, which he warns can stupefy the nobler powers of the soul.
This Stoic perspective lines up strikingly with many of the Eastern traditions we've discussed.
It does. Recognizing that true fulfillment and wisdom are found not in external achievements or fleeting sensory pleasures, but in the disciplined cultivation of one's inner self, one's character, one's rational faculty. It's a powerful reminder that our greatest resource is often found exactly where we least expect to look, within.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Our individual spiritual journeys, profound as they are, they very rarely happen in a vacuum, do they?
Almost never.
They intersect with collective narratives, with communities, and that shapes not only how we experience our understanding, but also how we express it. It's not just what happens inside, but how we relate to each other and the shared stories that bind us.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, we see that humans are fundamentally social creatures. I mean, that's obvious, but profound. Our shared systems of belief, whether they're explicitly religious or more broadly secular, become incredibly powerful frameworks.
Frameworks for cooperation.
For cooperation, for societal structure, for collective action. These collective narratives provide meaning, establish moral codes, bind us together. They influence everything from our laws to our daily interactions, giving rise to what Joseph Campbell so powerfully described as the power of myth.
Ah, Campbell, the power of myth. He gives such a profound understanding of how these collective narratives originate and function.
It really does.
He discusses the primal origins of myth. Ancestors telling stories about animals, the animal master who held power over life and death. And then Campbell explains what he calls the great mystery that the myths have to deal with.
It is this
Dark reality that life lives by killing and eating.
right, a fundamental truth.
Which makes the hunt, for early humans, a ritual. A sacrifice, an act of atonement. It's a profound way to make sense of survival itself, transforming a brutal act into a sacred one, giving it meaning, establishing a kind of spiritual compact with the natural world.
Campbell also draws that fascinating distinction between eros and amor.
Yes, eros being the biological urge, the zeal of the organs for each other, largely impersonal, driven by instinct.
Whereas amor, as understood by the troubadours in medieval Europe, represents something more personal, romantic, often idealized love, distinct from mere biological desire.
And that distinction highlights how shared narratives, cultural frameworks can elevate, refine, maybe redefine fundamental human experiences.
Turning instinctual urges into complex, deeply meaningful relationships and ideals, shaping our art, our literature, our very understanding of connection.
Okay, turning now to Native American spirituality, we get such a vivid sense of deep connection to land, the division to a shared cosmic purpose. In Black Elk Speaks,
A powerful, powerful book.
we hear of the vision yonder once again. The teepee built of cloud and sewed with lightning, the flaming rainbow door, and underneath, the 6 grandfathers sitting. Now, this isn't just a dream. It's presented as a foundational spiritual blueprint.
And what they were doing on Earth was, as he says, like a shadow cast upon the Earth from yonder vision.
Such a powerful metaphor, isn't it, for how the spiritual world imbues and guides earthly actions, giving every act a deeper resonance, connecting daily life to a sacred cosmic design. Their whole existence becomes an enactment of this vision.
But this deep spiritual connection is tragically intertwined with immense historical struggles.
Absolutely. The text recounts the painful history with the Wasichus, the white men, particularly over the Black Hills, the repeated breaking of treaties.
It offers a sobering, heart-wrenching account of battles and massacres, like Wounded Knee, described as one long grave of butchered women and children and babies.
It demonstrates how profound spiritual identity, rooted in land and vision, can be forged and challenged through collective historical experience, sometimes with immense suffering and loss, shaping not just individual beliefs, but the very destiny of a people.
It's a stark reminder of the cost of those cultural clashes.
Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer deepens this connection to the natural world, moving from vision to a tangible, reciprocal relationship.
A beautiful contemporary voice carrying ancient wisdom.
It introduces the concept of an animate earth, an earth that is, quote, calling to us to feed the martins and kiss the rice. It portrays nature not merely as a resource to exploit,
but as a living, breathing entity, one with whom humanity has a relationship of mutual respect and care.
the honorable harvest, those ecological principles, and understanding sweet grass as the hair of Mother Earth, traditionally braided to show loving care for her well-being. They embody this profound ethos. It's a spiritual framework integrating human action directly into the cycles of nature.
These examples from Native American traditions really eloquently show how collective identity is deeply rooted in a sense of place and a sacred, reciprocal relationship with the environment. It's holistic. Spiritual well-being, community bonds, ecological harmony, they're all inextricably linked.
The land isn't just ground.
It's a relative, a teacher, a source of spiritual sustenance. It offers such a powerful contrast to modern anthropocentric views, doesn't it? Suggests an alternative path for our relationship with the planet.
When we look at foundational texts like the Torah, the Quran, the Bible,
Yeah.
we see how religious laws and narratives establish these robust frameworks for entire societies' enduring cultures.
Absolutely central.
In the Torah, God's covenant with Abraham, marked visibly by circumcision, promises a great nation. It lays the groundwork for a people's identity, their destiny.
And it also lays down divine laws regarding land, interest, equitable treatment of the poor, famously stating, "The land is mine, for ye are strangers and settlers with me."
Which isn't just about property rights. It establishes a divine claim over resources and a profound responsibility towards the vulnerable members of the community, framing economic justice as a spiritual mandate.
The Torah also provides those foundational narratives. Moses' direct interactions with God, the dramatic giving of the covenant tables on Sinai, the challenging account of the rebellion with the molten calf.
And the constant guiding presence of the cloud of the Lord over them by day.
These stories are so much more than just history. They're powerful allegories, moral lessons, teaching loyalty, consequence, the nature of divine presence, the importance of adhering to sacred law, profoundly shaping a people's identity and moral code for generations.
Illustrating that ongoing dynamic between divine expectation and human fallibility. The Quran similarly emphasizes core ethical principles, universal in application, deeply woven into the fabric of daily life and community.
It instructs believers to associate nothing with him, that you show loving kindness towards parents, that you do not kill your infants for fear of poverty.
It prohibits indecencies, whether out in the open or else concealed, and upholds the absolute sanctity of life, stating powerfully that you do not kill the soul which God has sanctified except in justice.
These aren't just legal statutes, they're profound moral principles designed to foster a just, compassionate, spiritually aligned society.
And in the Christian tradition, even seemingly simple things like, say, David's lineage in 1 Chronicles.
The genealogies.
Right. They serve as a reminder of how lineage, law, history create these foundational narratives, anchoring a people's identity, their sense of purpose.
Those detailed genealogies aren't just lists, they're statements of continuity, covenant, a divine plan unfolding through human generations, providing a sense of collective belonging and destiny, demonstrating how historical continuity forms a crucial part of collective spiritual identity.
Then in the gospel parallels, we encounter moments that vividly highlight the very human response to the divine, often awe, wonder, maybe a touch of bewilderment.
Like Peter's response at the Transfiguration.
Exactly. Peter's eager, if slightly impulsive. "Rabbi, it's a good thing we're here. How about we set up 3 tents?" It shows the deeply human desire to contain, commemorate, maybe even control a sacred, overwhelming experience.
That natural impulse to try and build something tangible around the transcendent.
And then, dramatically, the authoritative voice from the cloud cuts through, "This is my son, the one I love. Listen to him."
That moment not only establishes Jesus' divine identity, his unique relationship with God, but it gives a clear, unambiguous directive to his followers, emphasizing the paramount importance of heeding his teachings. It's a central pillar of belief and practice.
A moment of clarity, divine affirmation, guiding the very foundation of Christian faith, establishing a new covenant of listening and obedience. Okay, let's dig deeper into Christianity, society, and personal transformation, maybe through the brilliant, often witty lens of C.S. Lewis.
Lewis, always insightful.
In Mere Christianity, he tackles that profound idea of becoming sons of God, the fatherhood of God. He clarifies that while God is like a father in creating and loving us,
The Christian idea of becoming sons implies something deeper, a transformative process of spiritual adoption, assimilation into the divine nature itself, not just an external relationship.
He really pushes us to consider what it truly means to be remade in the divine image.
And Lewis is very clear in distinguishing the Christian God. He argues God is super personal, meaning beyond human personality, yet still possessing qualities of personhood, but definitely not something impersonal like a force or an abstract principle.
And he tackles the Trinity.
He does, explaining it not as three separate gods, but as a dynamic relation of love. The Father streaming forth from the Father like light from a lamp, a continuous, eternal outpouring of love. It's a conceptualization that offers a way to understand God as both intensely relational and utterly transcendent.
Pushing beyond simple human categories, inviting us into a deeper mystery.
Exactly.
The Great Divorce by Lewis offers this stark, allegorical portrayal of hell. Not traditional fiery torment, but
A place where people have no needs, and therefore no proper economic basis for any community life.
it's not just material poverty, is it? It's a spiritual self-sufficiency so extreme, it leads to an inability to connect, to share, to engage in genuine reciprocity.
It's a powerful critique of radical individualism, highlighting how it ultimately undermines community and genuine love.
He describes the inhabitants of hell as spectral ghosts, almost transparent, insubstantial, contrasting them sharply with the solid people of heaven.
Which vividly symbolizes the diminishing reality of those who cling to their own self-will, refusing to surrender to love. And Lewis provocatively states that love, as mortals understand the word, isn't enough.
What does he mean by that?
He suggests that even our most cherished earthly affections must undergo a profound death and transformation, a purification to participate in true divine love, a love that's far more demanding, more transformative than our human understanding initially grasps.
Wow, and then the Screwtape Letters gives us that devil's eye view of human nature. Darkly humorous, incredibly insightful exploration of temptation, spiritual warfare.
Through the letters of the senior demon Screwtape to his nephew Wormwood,
Lewis asserts that in marriage, in sexual intercourse, wherever a man lies with a woman, there, a transcendental relation is set up.
implying a sacred, enduring, divinely ordained bond established by the act itself, whether humans consciously acknowledge it or not, a spiritual reality underpinning the physical union.
The book also offers that chilling description of how demons perceive the divine presence.
As blinding, suffocating fire, utterly horrifying, destructive to their nature.
Yet, to the saved, this same divine presence is experienced as cool light and clarity itself, bringing peace and illumination.
That striking contrast illustrates the radical difference in perception, in experience, between those aligned with the divine and those opposed, underscoring the transformative power of spiritual alignment and the existential stakes of our choices.
A vivid illustration of how the same truth can be perceived as heaven or hell, depending on your inner state.
Precisely.
Dietrich Bonhoeffer's The Cost of Discipleship. Profoundly challenging, ultimately inspiring. A call to real obedience to Christ.
Emphasizing that Jesus fulfilled the law down to the very last letter, making it properly valid for the first time.
Which isn't about mere legalism, is it? Or just following external rules. It's about a radical, all-encompassing commitment to Christ that actualizes the law's true divine intent, often at immense personal cost.
It's a call to move beyond what he called cheap grace to a costly lived faith.
Bonhoeffer, writing in the shadow of Nazism, argues compellingly that baptism incorporates believers not just into a community, but into the body of Christ, that is, into his death and resurrection.
Leading to justification and the formation of a community of the disciples. This highlights the collective, profoundly transformative nature of Christian faith, where individual salvation is inherently linked to membership in a committed community, willing to share in Christ's suffering and triumph.
A deep existential commitment to a life lived entirely for and in Christ, not just superficial adherence to doctrine. Henri Nouwen's The Return of the Prodigal Son reflects so deeply, so personally on that parable's timeless themes: return, forgiveness, the Father's unconditional rejoicing.
Who declares, because your brother here was dead and has come to life, he was lost and is found.
Nouwen unpacks the multiple layers of the parable beautifully, seeing himself, seeing us in the roles of the prodigal, the older brother, even the father.
And he shares his own deeply personal experience of seeing Rembrandt's painting of the parable in the Hermitage, which shows how art can become this profound gateway to spiritual understanding, bringing ancient truths to vivid emotional life.
That parable serves as such a timeless narrative about divine love, human brokenness, offering profound hope for reconciliation, transformation within families, communities within your own soul.
It mirrors that spiritual journey of returning to a loving source, regardless of past transgressions. And it challenges us to embrace both forgiveness and vulnerability. It's a message that resonates deeply with our innate human longing for belonging and acceptance, illustrating the ultimate embrace of unconditional love.
And Dallas Willard, in The Divine Conspiracy Continued, makes an important, maybe often overlooked, observation about the nature of spiritual community work.
What's that?
He notes pointedly that the local church is not a business.
Yes. A crucial critique of applying corporate metrics and business models to ministry, highlighting the distinct relational, spiritual, intrinsically non-quantifiable dynamics at play.
The work of spiritual formation, human transformation,
There.
it just doesn't fit neatly into a spreadsheet or a quarterly report, does it?
Not at all. Willard emphasizes that while good, diligent work is expected, the soul is not like the body in its ability to heal when viewed through a purely mechanistic lens. He argues that meaningful metrics need to be peer-reviewed, led by ministers themselves. Acknowledging the unique, delicate nature of spiritual care and transformation, it operates on a different logic than profit margins or market share.
It's a call to recognize the sacred difference in spiritual endeavor. So, as we kind of transition here, what does this incredible tapestry of spiritual and communal practices mean for us today? Because many of these texts also illuminate the difficulties, right? The diverse interpretations, the ongoing, often challenging evolution of our understanding of what it means to be spiritual, to be human, to be in community. We don't just find answers, we find complex questions, which raises an important question for us and for you, the listener. In a world of rapidly evolving knowledge, shifting societal structures, constant information, how do these ancient and modern perspectives help us navigate future spiritual and existential challenges?
We see this constant dynamic tension between established beliefs, inherited traditions, and revolutionary new ways of understanding ourselves and the cosmos.
James Baldwin's The Fire Next Time offers such a powerful, deeply personal critique of organized religion, its profound, often painful societal impact, particularly in the context of racial injustice in American history.
Baldwin recounts his intensely personal struggle with faith, a pivotal moment coming when he realized that the Bible itself had been written by men.
And that the visions God granted to me differed from the visions he granted to my father. That journey of questioning fundamental beliefs, inherited truths. It's incredibly relatable, a moment of profound intellectual and spiritual independence.
And Baldwin's critique extends sharply, unflinchingly, to the historical role of Christianity, articulating that painful truth that the white man's heaven is the black man's hell.
He addresses with unmitigated clarity the unmitigated arrogance and cruelty of Christianity when wielded in the realm of power, particularly regarding colonialism, the justification of conquest.
And he highlights its ambivalent role in morals, noting that while missionaries might have had good intentions, spreading the gospel was also an absolutely indispensable justification for the planting of the flag by those seeking a city but not one in the heavens.
This perspective, which, just to be clear, we're presenting impartially as it's in the source.
Of course.
It underscores the complex, often painful interplay between faith, power, identity, and profound injustice, forcing us to confront the shadow side of religious history.
Definitely a challenging read, but an important one.
On another powerful front of critique, we have the scientific materialist perspective, vividly articulated by Richard Dawkins as presented through Alistair McGrath's Dawkins' God.
Dawkins famously views God as a delusion, describing God as a psychotic delinquent invented by mad, deluded people, which science, he argues with characteristic bluntness, sorts out.
It's a definitive, unequivocal rejection of religious belief from a staunch scientific perspective, asserting that science renders such concepts obsolete.
What's interesting, though, and something the source points out, is a historical nuance that often gets lost in modern debates.
Which is?
That within 30 years of Darwin's Origin of Species being published, many within the Church of England actually found his ideas perfectly consistent with Christian theology.
Really? That challenges the simplified narrative, doesn't it?
It does. The narrative of an inevitable, eternal conflict between science and religion. It shows the perceived tension has evolved, wasn't always as absolute or universally accepted as some modern interpretations suggest. Highlights the flexibility of theological interpretation facing new scientific paradigms.
Charles Taylor, in his monumental work Our Secular Age, provides a broader, incredibly nuanced historical context for this profound shift in belief systems.
He poses that profound question: why it was almost impossible not to believe in God in 1500, and yet an easy, perhaps even the easiest option in 2000.
And he introduces the concept of the buffered self, contrasting it with a porous self of earlier ages. This buffered self experiences less direct, spontaneous, or overwhelming connection to the spiritual world.
Leading to a different kind of inner experience, making non-belief a more plausible, maybe more comfortable option.
Taylor's work reminds us that belief and non-belief aren't static categories. They're deeply intertwined with historical, social, psychological changes that reshape human experience.
The rise of this buffered self, with less porous boundaries to the spiritual, greater psychological autonomy, it fundamentally contributes to a different understanding of religious experience and its place in modern life. It's a complex historical narrative, not a simple argument against faith, more an exploration of how the conditions for belief have profoundly changed.
Okay, let's delve into the very nature of reality and perception now. Robert Pirsig's Then and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance introduces that enigmatic, almost ungraspable concept of quality.
Which he argues is undefinable, existing beyond both subjective or objective categories.
He explores philosophical mysticism as the idea that truth is indefinable and can be apprehended only by non-rational means, suggesting a mode of understanding that transcends logical analysis.
Pirsig also describes what he calls a hip-square cleavage in understanding, where quality itself cleaved into two kinds.
Romantic quality and classic quality.
Right. Romantic quality, appreciated through immediate emotions, intuitive grasp, and classic quality, understood through rational analysis, structure, underlying form.
Which illustrates how our intellectual and experiential frameworks can inadvertently segment even fundamental concepts, leading to different, sometimes conflicting, ways of perceiving, valuing, engaging with the world.
It's a powerful statement about the limitations of our dualistic thinking.
Plotinus, in the Enneads, explores the soul's profound journey of purification, leading to knowledge of the best things, where it contemplates fundamental virtues like self-control and justice within itself, discovering them as inherent truths.
He masterfully differentiates the sensible world, our everyday physical experience, from the intelligible world, a realm of pure thought and forms where all are in one and the thing and its why are identical, emphasizing a profound unity of being and explanation.
And he describes the soul's presence in the sensible world as a kind of banishment, escape, loss of feathers,
Suggesting its true nature, its full potential, are actually found in that intelligible realm, a place of pure thought, absolute reality, where it can fully become itself. It offers a profound philosophical framework for understanding our spiritual origins and ultimate destination, positioning earthly existence as a temporary, often challenging departure from a higher state of unity and knowing.
a powerful call to rediscover our true intellectual home.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph Waldo Emerson, in his seminal essays, speaks to a universal human capacity for truth and expression.
Asserting that all men have some access to primary truth and some art or power of communication.
He believes profound spiritual and philosophical insights aren't exclusive to a chosen few, but accessible to everyone.
However, there's a but.
Yeah, he laments that great inspirations often die with their subject if he has no hand to paint them to the senses.
Which highlights the crucial role of art, language, all forms of expression, in translating abstract spiritual insights into tangible forms that can be shared, understood, preserved by others.
Emphasizing the need for individuals not just to grasp these truths, but also to articulate them, acting as a vital bridge between the inner vision and collective comprehension.
Ensuring profound truths don't remain isolated within individuals, but enrich the collective human experience. It's a call to share your inner world with the outer.
Moving into more modern explorations of perception and consciousness, Michael Pollan's How to Change Your Mind fascinatingly discusses the historical context of psychedelic research at Spring Grove.
This ambitious program of psychedelic research, using substances like LSD, psilocybin, it was, perhaps surprisingly to some, getting very good results in well-designed studies before the counterculture backlash.
Pollan notes the significant, though ultimately disruptive, impact of figures like Timothy Leary on the field, which unfortunately led to the widespread suppression of such research for decades.
But those early findings suggest a powerful potential for these substances to profoundly alter perception, induce mystical states, offer unique insights into consciousness, prefiguring much of the renewed interest in psychedelics today for therapeutic and exploratory purposes.
Pushing the boundaries of how we understand and access altered states of awareness.
Definitely.
And Sam Harris, in Waking Up, brings a rigorous neuroscientific and philosophical perspective to the study of consciousness, seeking to bridge scientific understanding with contemplative practices.
He briefly mentions concepts like neuronal synchrony, the coordinated firing of neurons, and the neural correlates of consciousness, exploring how our subjective experience might arise from the physical workings of the brain.
This scientific inquiry into consciousness offers a complementary lens to the mystical traditions we've discussed, attempting to bridge that gap between subjective spiritual experience and objective biological processes.
Reflecting the ongoing human effort to understand reality from multiple perspectives, whether through introspection, philosophy, or empirical science, continually expanding our understanding of what it means to be aware.
Okay, beyond the grand theories, the critiques, the scientific inquiries, many of our sources offer incredibly practical wisdom for navigating modern living, blending profound spiritual insights with tangible, actionable advice.
Like Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, a book born from the unspeakable horrors of Auschwitz.
It discusses logotherapy's powerful focus on finding meaning in suffering, underscoring what human beings are capable of, even in the most extreme conditions of existential deprivation.
Frankl's profound message, shaped by his experiences and reflecting on events like Hiroshima too, emphasizes reconciliation rather than revenge, and a courageous rejection of collective guilt.
Shifting the focus from blame and retribution
to individual responsibility, and the innate human capacity for moral choice, meaning-making, self-transcendence, even facing unimaginable adversity. It's a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit when anchored by purpose.
Marie Kondo's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up might seem like an unexpected entry here.
Yes, but it offers a surprisingly tangible path to inner transformation through external order.
Her KonMari method promises that the disciplined act of tidying can transform self-perception, instill the belief you can do anything if you set your mind to it. It connects the physical act of decluttering with a profound psychological, maybe even spiritual shift.
Kondo's practical advice, like advocating for vertical storage, it isn't just about neatness for its own sake. It's about cultivating mindfulness, recognizing accumulation, preventing items from being squashed and forgotten, fostering a mindful, respectful relationship with our possessions.
And this process, she argues, contributes to a clearer mental space, reduces anxiety, enables greater personal clarity, a form of practical spiritual practice in the everyday. Tamar Adler's An Everlasting Meal extends this practical wisdom to the kitchen, transforming cooking from a chore into a creative, almost meditative practice.
She offers brilliant economical advice, like recommending you push the limits of a single pot of water's utility, moving from less starchy ingredients to more starchy ingredients, then creatively using that same flavorful water for beans. It's about respect for resources, maximizing flavor.
And she suggests cooking more than you need for a given meal
Yeah.
to transform into other delicious meals on subsequent days. An act of foresight, culinary artistry.
There's even that specific technique for frying eggs for pasta, slowly in a half-inch of just warm olive oil, constantly spooning oil over them.
Gently poaching them to perfection.
Exactly. These are small acts of economy and grace that imbue daily tasks with intention, mindfulness, a deep appreciation for the cycles of food and nourishment, turning cooking into a living art.
The Tao of Pooh by Benjamin Hoff provides delightful, accessible analogies for a more harmonious, less effortful way of living, drawing on Taoist philosophy.
The Pooh way.
Right. When things just happen in the right way at the right time because you work with circumstances instead of saying, this isn't supposed to be happening this way, it's about finding flow, acceptance, effortless action, wu-wei, rather than striving against the natural order.
The book introduces the profound concept of the uncarved block, representing Pooh's simple, inherent, untroubled nature, untouched by artificial complexity or intellectualization.
And the concept of two,
meaning caring or compassion. These ideas advocate for a gentle, natural approach to life, valuing simplicity, compassion, living in harmony with the flow of existence rather than imposing your will at every turn. It's a charming yet deep reminder to embrace your natural self.
Eric Fromm's The Art of Loving makes a profound, maybe somewhat unsettling statement about what he argues is the most fundamental human need.
He asserts unequivocally that love is an art just as living is an art.
And then he outlines 3 necessary steps for mastery, just like any other art form.
Mastery of the theory, understanding what love truly is, mastery of the practice, actively cultivating loving attitudes and behaviors, and finally, making it a matter of ultimate concern, prioritizing it above all else.
From laments, quite powerfully, that almost everything else is considered to be more important than love. Success, prestige, money, power.
That critique highlights a deep societal imbalance, doesn't it? Suggesting our collective pursuit of external achievements, material gains, often overshadows the cultivation of this essential human art, the ability to love maturely and authentically.
It's a call to reevaluate our priorities. Recognize love not as a passive feeling, but as an active, conscious, lifelong practice.
Mm-hmm.
Jon Kabat-Zinn, in his widely influential book, Wherever You Go, There You Are, offers practical, accessible guidance on cultivating mindfulness in our everyday lives.
He discusses the crucial practice of letting go through awareness and acceptance, allowing stillness, insight, and wisdom to arise naturally.
And he makes it clear that meditation is hardly romantic, emphasizing the need for daily awareness of purpose, of intention, to truly integrate it into our lives. It's about consistent, deliberate practice, not fleeting moments of calm.
Kabat-Zinn encourages using the body as the locus of your being and your vitality in meditation, reminding us forcefully that we are not just a resident of your head.
This practical approach to mindfulness roots spiritual practice firmly in physical awareness, bringing us into the present moment, fostering a deeper connection with our embodied experience, making it accessible even in the busiest lives.
It's a grounded, down-to-earth path to inner peace and clarity.
Finally, Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way offers incredibly practical step-by-step tools for creative and spiritual recovery, empowering individuals to unlock their innate artistic potential.
She famously introduces morning pages as a non-negotiable daily practice, 3 pages of unfiltered stream of consciousness writing.
These pages act as a catcher's mitt for these concerns, she says, those petty, picky thoughts, anxieties, mundane worries that often consume us, allowing for fresh eyes to approach the day with greater clarity and creative space.
Cameron also suggests incredibly insightful exercises, like imagining 5 other lives to lead for creative exploration, broadening your imagined horizons. And she directly addresses the pervasive challenge of childhood shaming that can hinder artists from finishing their work, offering tools to heal those creative wounds.
These practices help individuals overcome internal blocks, quiet the inner critic, reconnect with their inherent creativity and purpose, ultimately fostering a more vibrant, authentic, spiritually rich life.
A very practical path to creative and spiritual well-being.
As we look now at human evolution and societal trends through these lenses, Teilhard de Chardin's The Phenomenon of Man offers this sweeping, almost poetic, vision of cosmic evolution.
He views consciousness not as an isolated human trait, but as a cosmic property of variable size subject to a global transformation.
For Teilhard, evolution is an irreversible increase in quality of brains and therefore consciousness, leading towards a metamorphosis of humanity itself, a profound leap forward.
Teilhard posits that the energies of life seem unable to spread in one region or take on a new form except at the expense of a lowering elsewhere, suggesting a kind of zero-sum game, maybe, or a necessary rebalancing in evolutionary pressure.
And he believes human evolution is now constructing something unprecedented, with all minds joined together mind, evolving beyond nations and races towards an inevitable taking as a whole of mankind.
It's a powerful, almost mystical vision of collective consciousness, global unity, a spiritual convergence of humanity towards a higher state of being he called the Omega Point.
Steven Pinker's The Better Angels of Our Nature highlights a more deliberate, data-driven approach to societal improvement, focusing on the historical decline of violence.
He introduces the concept of a civilizing offensive, defining it as a deliberate effort by sectors of a community, often women, elders, or clergy, to tame the Rambos and rascals and restore civilized life. This isn't just organic evolution, it's conscious collective action.
Pinker provides a compelling modern example from the Enga province in Papua New Guinea, where elders, using newly introduced cell phones for rapid response,
worked alongside church leaders to substitute an ethic of forgiveness for the ethic of revenge.
This coordinated, intentional societal effort dramatically reduced killings, demonstrating how conscious, collective action, even using new technologies, can drive down violence, foster community well-being, pushing us towards our better angels.
A tangible example of ethical evolution in action.
On a more sobering note, though, regarding modern trends and our collective impact, Jason Hickel's Less is More discusses what he terms the Great Acceleration.
A period of aggressive and destructive ecological impact starting mid-20th century.
He reveals a disturbing trend that material use has outpaced the growth of GDP since 2000, leading to a rematerializing rather than dematerializing global economy.
Meaning we're consuming resources at an ever-increasing, unsustainable rate.
This points to the increasing unsustainable pressure humanity is placing on planetary resources, raising critical questions about our current economic models, our collective values, their long-term spiritual and environmental implications.
It's an urgent call, really, to reevaluate our priorities for collective well-being, to shift away from endless growth towards a more regenerative, balanced relationship with the Earth, a spiritual and practical imperative for our very survival.
So, wow, we've journeyed through an incredible breadth of human spiritual and philosophical exploration in this deep dive.
We really have.
From intense individual meditative practices seeking inner liberation, to the profound impacts of collective belief systems on societal structures, and finally, to critical examinations of these paths and their ongoing evolution.
Whether the path is one of intense inner reflection, community building, or rigorous critical inquiry, that fundamental human drive to understand, to connect, to find meaning, it remains an unwavering constant, doesn't it?
It really does. This deep dive reveals, well, not a single definitive answer, but rather an ongoing, multifaceted quest for meaning, marked by both profound unity in our yearning and striking diversity in our approaches.
It's a testament to the complex, evolving, deeply personal yet universally shared nature of human experience. These sources offer not prescriptive solutions, but rich landscapes for understanding our own place in this grand human story.
So here's the final thought for you, our listener, to ponder. Considering humanity's long history of creating these elaborate frameworks for understanding the divine, for structuring society, and in light of new challenges like potential superintelligence or these massive global ecological shifts demanding unprecedented collective action.
What shared understandings or myths, consciously chosen or otherwise, do you believe will be truly essential for our collective future well-being and spiritual evolution?
How might individual spiritual practices, like those of Yogananda or Patanjali, and those powerful communal narratives, like the ones described by Campbell or Black Elk, how might they converge or diverge in shaping the next chapter of humanity's story? Especially as we grapple with questions of how our deepest values might be encoded or perhaps lost in whatever comes next for human creation.
It's a huge question, one for all of us to ponder as we continue this incredible journey of discovery.